Today I will be explaining in this video to you about passive symport and antipodes. Okay, these may seem to be some new words to you, but they are very simple. Passive symports and antipode. First of all, what is passive? No energy is being involved, then it is passive. And if energy is being involved in the transport, we call it as an active transport. So the heading itself is very clear to you whether it is symport or it is antipode. I will be just telling you what are they. But basically we are talking about the passive transport where no energy would be involved. What happens is some transport routines, like you and your best friend. Let me give you a very simple example. You and your best friend, normally when you go out together. In the races, if you go out, you're going out together. You generally don't move out alone. So exactly this condition is with these proteins also. There are some transport proteins which allow diffusion only if two molecules move together. I just give you example. If I give you a task and you say, okay, go and do this, you will say, okay ma'am, I'll go. Should I take so and so along with me? This is a very common thing we see in classes. So here also these proteins are like you people only. These transport proteins, they say, okay, we will allow diffusion. But we will allow diffusion only if two molecules are allowed to move together. Now here also. Now both of the students get a permission from the teacher to go out. Fine, both of them have gone out. But if one is sent to another class on another task, the other is sent to another class on another task, and they have to move in different directions, this could be one case. Or the other cases, both of the friends have been sent to the same class, that means they are moving in the same directions. So, according to this, we have symport and antipode. First of all, symport and antipode condition will arise only when two molecules move together. Now, what happens in a symport? Both the molecules cross the membrane in the same direction. I told you, both the friends are going in the same direction. So, if both the molecules are crossing the membrane in the same direction, then such kind of a transport is called as symport. S-Y-M-P-O-R-T, what is it called? Symport. But if they have to move in opposite directions, then we call it as an antipode. A-N-T-I-P-O-R-T. What is it called? Antipode. Okay? However, there are some people who don't like to be with friends, who generally must be there in your class as well, who prefer to move out alone, who prefer to stay out alone. They do not need a friend to accompany them. We have these kind of transport proteins also. They move across the membrane independent of other molecules. They do not take any molecule with them, they move alone. Such kind of molecules, transport molecules which move alone, they go alone, they are known as unipode. Such kind of a transport is known as unipode. Uni means one and pode is transportation. If you see, very simple, I have tried to explain it with the help of this figure. If this round big thing that you see is your membrane, and we have A, this is your transport protein. One transport protein A, it is going alone. It is crossing the membrane all alone. So this is an example of unipode. Come to the second case. We have two transport proteins which are crossing the membrane. A is going from left to right and B is coming from right to left. That means they are moving in opposite directions. So this is antipode. What is it called? Antipode. Move on to the third case. You can see A and B, both of them are crossing the membrane but in the same direction. This is symport. What is it called? Symport. So what is the main difference between unipode, antipode and symport? First of all, in unipode only one transport protein moves. It is independent of other molecules. In antipode and symport, two molecules move together. If both the molecules move in the same direction, we call it as symport. But if the molecules move in opposite directions, it is called as antipode. I hope the word unipode, antipode and symport is clear to you. I also told you about passive transport. Now let's move on to active transport later. Passive transport, no energy was being involved. So that is what we call as passive transport. In passive transport, we had unipode, we had antipode and we had symport. In active transport, this transport, it uses energy to transport molecules, and remember, here the molecules are transported against the concentration gradient. When I say concentration gradient, along the concentration gradient, it means from higher to lower. Along the concentration gradient means something is moving from high concentration to low concentration. But if I say against the concentration gradient, it means something is moving from low concentration gradient to high concentration gradient. This transport is also carried out by certain membrane proteins. If you remember, I told you in the previous video, passive transport was being carried out by certain membrane proteins. Some substances which were not soluble in lipids. Who was helping them out? The membrane proteins. There it was passive transport. However, there are some proteins present on the membrane which are involved in this kind of a transport, that is active transport. transport. So what is the conclusion, beta? We have different kind of proteins on the membrane. Some of them play an active role in active transport. The others play an important role in passive transport. So membrane proteins are involved in both passive transport as well as active transport. When we say passive transport, we mean movement from high concentration to low concentration without energy. When we say active transport, it is against the gradient, that is low concentration to high concentration, and energy is involved. In the previous video, I told you about porins, P-O-R-I-N-S, porins. These special membrane proteins which do not form channels, they form large pores, and it is through these pores that the molecules are transported. So we had special membrane proteins called porins. Here I am telling you about a special membrane proteins which are called pumps. P-U-M-P-S, pumps. What are pumps? They are also proteins. But these proteins, they use energy and then carry out the substances across the membrane. These proteins, they carry the substance from low concentration to high concentration. That is against the concentration gradient. Porins were moving the substance from high concentration to low concentration. But pumps are also membrane proteins. The main difference is beta, they move the substance from low concentration to high concentration. Whenever something moves from a low concentration to a high concentration, this transport is either called as uphill transport or it is called against the concentration gradient. Uphill transport. Why is it called uphill transport? Supposing you are traveling a hill, okay? You are climbing up a hill, you need to put in a lot of energy compared to when you are coming down a hill. So when you are traveling uphill, when you are climbing uphill, you need to put in energy. And here, because energy has to be put in for this transport is also known as uphill transport. Active transport is also known as uphill transport. So pumps, what are pumps? Pumps are proteins that use energy to carry substance across low concentration to high concentration. That is your uphill transport. Transport rate, it reaches a maximum when all the protein transporters are being used. That is when the saturation level comes. This is exactly the same which I explained in the previous video to you in passive transport. Here also, when all the pumps become active, all of them start transporting proteins from low concentration to high concentration, the transport rate will reach its maximum and we will say that saturation has come. The carrier proteins, I am talking about the pumps, they are very specific. Each protein is very specific. It knows what it is going to carry across the membrane, just like hormones and enzymes. These carrier proteins are very specific. Each protein knows, it is very specific, each protein knows what it is going to carry across the membrane. It is not that any protein is going to carry any substance. There is a specific system that okay, this carrier protein will carry or transport only these substances. If we compare the different transport mechanisms, basically we have done three. One was simple diffusion, second was facilitated diffusion, and the third is your active transport. In simple diffusion, we have normally traveled to short distances, no energy was being involved in this, and no facilitators, no helping agents were needed. In facilitated diffusion, again no energy was involved, however we needed some facilitators where we told you we have the help of proteins which were helping the membrane proteins called porins. And active transport in facilitated diffusion also, it is always high concentration to low concentration. But active transport we just did, it is against the concentration gradient, that is low hill to uphill. Lower concentration to high concentration. Now I made a small table and I have written certain parameters. First is requires proteins or not. Okay, the first heading is requires proteins or not. Simple diffusion does not require, so I put a cross. Facilitated diffusion does require proteins, so I put a tick. Active transport also needs proteins, so I put a tick. Second is highly selective in nature or not. Simple diffusion is not very selective, so I put a cross. But facilitated diffusion and active transport are selective in nature, so we have put a tick in front of them. Third is the transport saturation. Does it come or it does not come? In simple diffusion, saturation point was not there, we had not discussed about it. However, in facilitated diffusion and active transport, you will find this transport saturates. Then uphill transport. Uphill transport is against the concentration gradient, that is low concentration to high concentration. This is not observed in simple diffusion. This is not observed in facilitated diffusion. However, this is observed in active transport. Moving on to whether it requires energy or not. Simple diffusion does not require energy. Facilitated diffusion also does not require energy. However, active transport requires energy. So we have done in this, what have we done? Basically, we have done about uniport, where only one molecule is moving. Antiport, where two molecules are moving but in opposite directions. Synport, two molecules are moving together but in the same direction. In active transport, we said energy is being utilized, and what is happening? We have pumps which carry the substance from low concentration to high concentration, and they are very specific in nature. Then finally we compared simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion and active transport. We have compared all the different transport mechanisms in terms of what? In terms of whether they require proteins, whether they are highly selective, whether the transport saturates or not, whether it is an uphill transport, and whether they require energy. It's a very simple, very interesting part.